Hello, Julie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm doing Roxy's Weekly Challenge, week number 27, 28 and 29. Now I'm doing these all together because they were all very similar. They were mark making and then using that to create a masterboard and then cutting that masterboard up and decorating it. So, Firstly, Rachel used watercolours on the first video, so that was number 27, and she just used various pieces of paper and did some mark making. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to do, she did watercolour and she also did acrylics. I've got both and I'm going to do both on here. The first one, as I said, she just did it on pieces of paper and then made the masterboard with those pieces of paper. In the second one, where she used her acrylic paints, she created the masterboard first and then used the acrylic paints to make the marks on the masterboard that's already assembled. So I thought that I'm going to combine the whole lot. I'm going to create my masterboard first of all, and I've used fairly neutral colours on here, pretty plain, except for those that have got a bit of colour in them. I'm going to use both watercolour and acrylic paints on here, on the one. So that's my plan. I don't really know, I did wet this to start with, and I'm going to mix up a couple of different colours. Put a bit of green there, mix a bit of that with a bit of the blue. And we can just start by making some little blobby marks along here. Now it depends on what paper you've got on your masterboard or whatever you're using. I mean, you don't have to do this straight onto a masterboard like this. You can do it like Rachel did it, separate pieces of paper, and that way you get a real variation. Perhaps if I get a bit of this green, I don't know whether you can actually see that or not. This is a little Jane Davenport colour palette. I have got others, but I just thought I'd just use this one for today. So let's mix some more colours together and start another little row down here. We need a bit more of that blue, I think. You can make all sorts of marks. I'm just doing these marks across here for now. Bring in some blue and perhaps some darker blue. Lighter blue there. Bit of dark. Just a bit of green. Okay, now I'm going to just have a bit of yellow. Got a bit of green on my brush already, so let's pop some of that in there. Fairly green looking yellow, isn't it? blue. Right, let's try some different colours. Let's go for a bit of the pinks and along here. So a bit of red, or this is that colour there. A bit more pinkish. Perhaps we could go for something like that. There's all sorts of different marks you can make, isn't there? But trying to think of them off the top of your head is not always the easiest thing. So what else could we do? She did some, that's not very good. Let's get a different brush for this one. Something like this maybe. My water's pretty dirty now, so let's something like that. A bit spiky, doesn't it? Let's have a look at this one here. Not keen on those. Let's try some green. Let's do a leaf. Quite easy to get carried away with this sort of thing, isn't it? Get so involved in what you're doing you forget to talk. Look at me, I'm going for all the colours under the rainbow. And what else can we do? Something with a more of a long stroke like that. Put a few of these in here. Looks like I've got some glue there that the paint doesn't really want to stick to. We can just put any marks anywhere we like, really, can't we? Let's bring some yellow. Need to clean that off a bit, don't I? And we can put some yellow lines going this way. Perhaps some going through there like that. Okay, I have got this cap, this bottle cap that came off. Oops. Put some circles in here. Some water on that blue. And what was that? That one? Okay. Right, so now I'm going to get out some of my acrylic paints and do some acrylic paints over here. Now I'm going to tidy this up and then I'll come back and we'll do the other with the acrylic. Okay, so I've got some acrylic paints out here. I thought I'd get them out. You don't need to see me do that. So they're just normal acrylic paints, craft paints. And now I've got some turquoise, some blue, some green, some white and some gold there. And I thought I'd just make some marks once again. So let's try doing, we could do some squares. So I've got two coloured paints on my brush and I'm just letting them come as they come off the brush. Just need a little bit more dark on that, I think. I'm getting a bit much the same as the one before. So let's continue down here. Right, let's do a blue set. light blue, just a little bit of the darker blue, and let's a little swatch of that. Need a little bit more of the darker blue, I think. Same thing with the green. So I've got a fairly vibrant green there and sort of an olive colour. Olive colour's a bit thin. A bit transparent. I don't think I mixed that one up very well actually. You might notice that this green and the darker blue have got like sorry, that's my alarm. I've set an alarm to remind me to stop recording because my camera only records for 29 minutes. But I did stop, so I know that I have got a little bit of playroom here. Okay, so what else can we do? Let's get a. We could do some dots. Okay, let's just dot. Try and swivel our brush around a little bit. Some lighter colour now. I'm getting a very big circle, am I? Perhaps if I just let's do some blue. Now this, I'm going to have to set this aside to dry when I finish painting it on because this paint is on pretty thick and it will take a while to dry. Some light blue on here. Let's go for some greens. And some of this green. Right. I'm going to come in with some white. Just put some bits of white here and there, so perhaps just some little bits of highlights here and there. need to put some more here, so what can I put? I've got a square brush. I could put, let's mix some of these together. Nice colour, isn't it? Perhaps we'll do another. Something like that, maybe. Don't mind if some overlap. Just a bit of a swoosh here and there. Now let's mix some green in with that and see what we get. And what can we do with this? We could just do some fine lines. So let's some of this and just I want to mix some of the turquoises. Oops. Those in with that. It's a bit different colour, yes. Right, so let's try and draw some circles. I need a bit less paint on my brush for that. Okay, I'm going to have some green on this section. And what will I do? It's the hard part, isn't it? Trying to work out what to do. Okay. Alright. Now I'm going to take my gold and my cap, and I'm going to put gold rings here and there. So, what do we think of that? Is that enough gold on there? I think so. Okay. Now I need to set that aside to dry. So I will do that, and when it's dry, I'll be back. Okay, so my mood board is dry now, so I'm going to cut it up. Now I'm going to just trim that off there first. To try and work out how I want to cut this up and what I can get out of it. It's 11. Just under 11 by 8.5. So if I cut this at jeepers creepers, I don't know. If I cut it at if I cut it at 6, it only gives me 2.5 inches. If I cut it at 6, that way, that gives me this piece, which is 2.5 inches by 11 inches. Cut that edge off. So if I cut this at 11, so half of that's 5.5. So cut that at 5.5. That'll give me 2 thin, 2 small tags. Then I have got this 6-inch piece, and I can do, say, 6x4 would make a journaling card. That leaves me how much? 7. So if I did another 4, or if I could do 3.5 and 3.5, that would give me 2 tags. So just cut this one in half. Out there. There we go. So I've got 2 wide tags, 2 thin tags, and 1 journaling card. Let's around the corners so we know where we are. So this one's a journaling card, so we're going to round all 4 corners. These are 2 tags, so I might use the smaller corner on these, and a little tag top. Actually, I should turn these over because they may be upside down, mightn't they? So let's do that. Okay, so let's see what we've got. So we've got a journaling card. And we've got a tag that is upside down. The text is upside down, but that won't matter. We have got another tag. This one has got a little bit of text up there, so we'll make that the top. And round at the bottom. Actually, they haven't turned out too bad, have they? This is a tag, and this has got some text on it, so we'll put the tab top at the top so that the text is up the right way. And we'll round the bottom. Might do the bigger round on this one. Not too bad. I'm not a big fan of mark making. It's not my kind of thing. But I have to say that these are not too bad. So just recapping, we did mark making with watercolours and acrylic paints, and we did it on a masterboard that was fairly neutral in the background. The heaviest thing was this pattern here. And we have ended up with 2 wide tags, 2 narrow tags, and a journaling card. Now we can decorate these. Rachel did decorate hers with some florals and some book page. I will gather up some supplies and come back and we'll decorate them. Okay, so I've got some lace, I've got some florals, and I've got some coffee dyed doily. So I'm going to work with these. Now I did go ahead and decorate my pieces, and it took another 23 minutes. So I have put this on fast forward, and I'm going to just do a bit of a voiceover here to explain to you what I've done. If you don't want to watch the putting together or the embellishing of the pieces, you can skip to the end. There will be some photos at the end so you can see what the finished product looked like if you don't want to watch them being done. Now everything has been inked around. I've used the Distress ink vintage photo to ink around everything. The glue that I'm using is the Boyle craft glue, and it's an EVA glue that I buy at the hardware store here in Australia. The hardware store is called Bunnings. And yeah, I really like it. It gives you a bit of movement time, but it also dries clear and dries quite quickly. The masterboard that I used was created onto a piece of 300 GSM coffee dyed cardstock, so it is nice and sturdy. I don't have to worry about backing anything else onto that to give it strength. The laces that I'm using are from my mum. She was a crafter, well, she's still alive, but she doesn't craft anymore, and I got a lot of her crafty goodies when she stopped doing it. The fussy cuts are from a gardening book, and yeah, they're not too glossy, so they're quite good to use. The labels that I've used are from assortment of places. Some of them were digital from Paper Inspirations, and some of them are Tim Holtz's tiny labels. I have not put any tabs on any of the tags because I decided that I would leave that until I'm ready to use them and then decide what sort of tab to put on it, because that can vary. If it has to go into a side pocket or something like that, I might not want anything too tall. So that's that. So yeah, thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and yeah, I did cheat a bit by covering 3 weeks with this one video, but I am a bit behind, so anyway, and they were all very similar. So yeah, thank you for joining me, and I hope you can join me when I post my next video. Okay, bye.